What's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the what's next on Robeisy Ramirez, the reigning WBO Featherweight Champion at 126 pounds, following a successful first title defense of his on the Inoue Fulton undercard back on July 25th. Now, before we get into that, if you guys could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I try to build my channel up here. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you could always give me a thumbs down or leave me a comment letting me know why. I'll take all kind of feedback. So back to this fight now, or back to Robeisy Ramirez. You know, he bounced back from the victory over Isaac Dogboe to claim the vacant belt, and he dominated a lesser-known fighter, way lesser-known fighter from Japan. But it was basically just to get that initial defense off. He scored a 5th round TKO and kept his title intact. But the big question now is what's next for Ramirez? Well, we know a couple things that Bob Arum really wants to, you know, if the monster Inoue is going to be making a move to 126, I'm sorry, then Robeisy Ramirez, that's a big fight that Bob Arum wants. He definitely wants it. Robeisy Ramirez is a 2-time former Olympian. You know, already has a strap now. He's got a world title. And there's one other title held by a top-ranked fighter, and that's Luis Alberto Lopez. So, excuse me. So let's run through the possible options for Robeisy Ramirez next and see what we come up with. So, at featherweight, you know, we're going to start with Luis Alberto Lopez. I don't think they fight next. I think, even though he's fighting, Lopez is fighting Joet Gonzalez September 15th. After a slugfest like that, Lopez is going to need a few months off. And I don't think Ramirez wants to sit waiting around for a unification. So I think Ramirez is going to get a fight in prior to that. So I don't see this one. Then there's WBA champion Lee Wood. Not seeing this one. Lee Wood is going to fight Josh Warrington in October. And if he's victorious, I think Lee Wood's likely going to 130. And even if he loses, I don't know if he's going to be able to have a quick turnaround. I don't think he would be to be able to fight Ramirez before the end of the year. So I don't see Wood being an option. Mauricio Lara, the former champ. I'd like to see the fight, but they're with different promoters. Lara, you know, in his last fight, after losing the title on the scales, suffered a decision loss to Lee Wood. I don't see the two sides coming together to make this fight. Even though Lara is an attractive opponent, he's still dangerous. And he could really knock Ramirez off his pedestal, and I don't think Bob Arum would want to cross the street to take that kind of risk. Brandon Figueroa, the top contender, former 122-pound champ. Figueroa is in line to fight Ray Vargas for the WBC belt. He's with a different promoter. I don't see the two sides coming together. Not likely, especially with a guaranteed title shot sitting there for Figueroa. Then WBC champion Ray Vargas. Not seeing this one. Vargas looks like he's defending against Figueroa next in a mandatory fight. He's coming off of a loss, and they're different promoters. Not likely here. Josh Warrington. I'd like to see the fight, but Warrington's fighting Lee Wood next. If he wins, you know, if he beats Lee Wood, I think he's probably moving to 130. And if he loses, I don't think he's going to want to fight a guy like Ramirez, especially fighting for a different promoter. Isaac Dogboe in a rematch. Not seeing it. He handled Dogboe. He beat him convincingly. Really wouldn't be a point in a rematch for Ramirez here, so I don't see that one. Joet Gonzalez. Gonzalez is fighting Lopez in September. And even if he were to pull off the upset, I don't think Ramirez is going to want to fight, is going to want to wait around for Gonzalez until the early part or the first half of next year. I think he wants a fight for the end of the year. Michael Conlan. This is a fight that I think was much desired before, but now that Conlan suffered another knockout loss, this time to Luis Alberto Lopez, I just don't think Conlan and Bob Arum or anybody wants to put him in there against Ramirez now. Conlan's going to have to work his way back up. Anybody else from 122, you know, coming up and wait to fight him, I don't see it. I really don't. I think Ramirez is kind of, in his own boat. But one fight I do believe is very possible. I do believe that the WBO might enforce a mandatory defense for Ramirez. And here's why. He made an optional defense already. After winning a fight, he made an optional defense. So there's the top three contenders after Joet Gonzalez, because Joet Gonzalez is his number one contender. Now the top three guys after Gonzalez, 2, 3, and 4, are Arnold K-Guy is number 2. Number 3 is some guy named Sergio Sanchez, and number 4 is Abe from Japan. And I don't see K-Guy, the WBO hasn't ordered this fight. I don't think either one of those guys mandated their position. They didn't, because Gonzalez was the number 1 ranked contender, and now he's moved on to fight for the IBF title against Luis Alberto Lopez. That's going to mess up his number 1 status in the WBO right there. So what I think is either the WBO is going to order Ramirez to fight K-Guy or Sanchez next, or they're going to pull a fast one and move Abe up to the number 1 ranked contender. And here's why I'm thinking that. One, Abe's coming off the win over Kiko Martinez. That made him the IBF's number 1 ranked contender. And what did Lopez do? He decided to fight Joet Gonzalez. Top Rank got him together to fight Joet Gonzalez, the WBO's number 1 ranked contender. So Abe being a top guy already, also being a Japanese fighter, Ramirez just fought in Japan on the Inoue undercard, and Bob Arum's trying to build a Ramirez and Inoue fight at some point. I believe that's wholeheartedly true. I think he wants them to fight next year. Why not Ramirez get a mandatory defense in against another Japanese fighter, get the victory, and then Ramirez is either looking at Naoya Inoue next, or he could potentially be looking at the winner of Lopez and Joet Gonzalez to unify belts, and then Inoue maybe in the second half of next year. So I really think it's a build right here for Bob Arum and for Robeisy Ramirez. I think he's got some options, but I truly believe that Abe could be, the guy from Japan, could be a mandatory fight for Ramirez next. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on Robeisy Ramirez, the reigning WBO Featherweight Champion, following his 5th round TKO victory in Japan on the Inoue Fulton undercard on ESPN. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.